Hello and aloha to all the people of the planet. Time is 10:47. Today is 17th of August 2012. We're getting closer to the rendezvous. Well, I remember promised to some of you that I would like to take a couple of topics before I retire myself from YouTube's and repeating myself over these topics, and that would be a bit of an investigation, an investigative approach, trying to understand society in the United States of America, and in fact all the Western societies, and even those that are going this pattern, this way. We have obviously solved a lot of problems that mankind is suffering from, whether it's in China, in India, in Middle East, by creations of the North America, mainly Canada and States, Australia and New Zealand included. But at the same time, this progress, material progress chiefly, has brought by itself some other problem. All these inventions, they come with a culture, and a new management is required. So this is a topic worth to contemplate on a bit. I thought I could shed some light on it. I've been living all my adult life in Canada, which is to me same as the United States. Some of the Canadians, they don't like to look at my definition, but I see States, Canada, and even the United Kingdom, they're all Anglo-Saxon country, and basically they're all the same. The differences of course always there between the individuals and the cities and the provinces and the states, so as the countries, but the affinities are overwhelmingly close. There's a lot of affinities between these 5 countries. So before we get in there, I don't like to get into philosophy, although my topics, categorized as philosophy. I'm not really a philosopher as such that is defined. Even my definition of philosophy is different, as I've given at the very beginning. I have a different approach. I come when science and other branches of knowledge cannot work. Philosophy is a prelude to what has to come. Just as like the science fictions, writing of H.G. Wells and Jules Verne's, or imagination that later on came to be, it was materialized. So, notwithstanding this fact that I'm not a philosopher, and philosophy as such is not what I'm interested in, we're going to have to go study some of the philosophers and some of the philosophies. One of the biggest one that I'm very much attracted as a child to, it was Karl Marx and Marxism, or Marxism, Leninism, communism, socialism, all those jazz that I was attracted to it very much. I saw there's some ground in what they say as opposed to the other things that people would say in Iran at those days. I like to study generally mankind in a 3-dimensional model, and I would say that the entire need of mankind, the truth about mankind, could be divided into 3 dimensions. One of them I call it economical or material dimensions, which deals with all whatever our body, physical body needs, which includes these houses and all the tools that we do. It doesn't matter for what purpose, but it's a need. So that's our deals with our body. Then is the social dimensions. When a man is relating himself to another man. Those needs and those relations that brings up ultimately the family, the society, and the world together. So there's another dimension to mankind, which is the social dimensions. And the third dimension's much clearer than any other ones, yet totally been thrown away by this new waves of civilization in the 20th century, which is the spiritual dimensions. And the spiritual dimensions, exactly like the physical dimension, our body deserves a spiritual dimension, is the need of our soul, of our spirits. And we do not need to philosophize this. I'm simply saying, as a kid, when you grow up, you want to know who you are, what's your God, where you came from. Not answering these questions or answering it wrong, it will have severe consequences in the life of the people as they grow up, because they form the part of our soul, psyche, whatever you like to call it, which is our reality. Well, in the 18th century, right about along when the Baha'i faith comes, there was this great philosophy, in my opinion anyways, Marxism. Karl Marx, Herbert Engels, they based their thoughts, continued for what Friedrich Engels from Germany, these were astonishingly great philosophers. He based on his ideas, took it from Herbert Engels, and he took it from Hegel, but he was claiming it was a backward philosophy, the way Hegel was looking at it, and he wanted the right ways. And in his definition, he said, let's be realistic. The sources for all the changes in the life of mankind, all of it is economical based. And he has many, many, many reasons for it that are truly worthy of discussions. According to him, there's an infrastructure, there's no superstructures. So, if we look at the society, let's say Iran, let's say some poor societies, where people are economically poor, naturally they're religious, naturally they don't read, therefore lack of their knowledge and presence of wrong ideas such as religions, knowledge with no explanation, that's what religion is, knowledge with no explanations, belief with no reasons. That creates, based on this, it just creates, their economy creates a lot of things in them, because they're poor. As soon as they become a little richer, as we can see, they forget the religion, as it is the societies in the West. They were very religious in the beginning. But as their economy became better, they became more productive, they created inventions, they became richer, better. They got rid of the religion. They become, according to Karl Marx, more mature. And look at the problem. So, according to him, economy of a society, which is the infrastructure, is responsible for all the changes of the superstructure that is in the society. All my house that I built here is based on the money that I have, based on the economy. A bigger economy is a bigger house. A good economy is a smaller house. The things that I like and I have and I use is all based on the economy that I have. So, and he formulates it, so-called formula of the revolution, and he says, when the workers and the law at the work, the laws of the work, the laws of productions, and all the thing that deals with production does not coincide and does not come into an equilibrium with the workers, therefore there's a revolution. That causes the revolution. And based on that, he says, the society was in the first slavery, and then it became feudalism, then it becomes capitalism. And the capitalism, based on that, what he says, it has to turn to socialism. He says, well, in the capitalistic society, the capitalists, as is the nature of the businesses, would have to have more and more and more money. There's no stoppage to it. It has to get bigger. It doesn't, then it will die. Well, how is it going to get bigger? There's only one way, that the society and people has to become poorer. He's basically fishing all the fishes, and at the end he says it runs out of prey. Capitalists cannot no longer sell his product to the people because he completely harvested all their money, all their wealth. It's just like a shark in a lake. If you let him, he'll eat all the fishes and then he runs out of food, and that would be his demise. So is it based on that, capitalist society cannot survive, he says, because they're going to eat everything that people have. And if they don't do that, then they're bankrupting. Another person will come in, and goes on and on and on. Americans, Western people, they looked at this and they said, you know, this guy's pretty smart. So what do we do about it? Because this is science, you know. He said, because the capitalist society is that it will turn into socialism, where the wealth is based on the amount of the work and the type of the work that you do. You have to get paid in the socialist society according to Karl Marx. So if you are 10 hours, so you have to get, you know, for the 10 hours. You get 5 hours, you have to get for 5 hours. If you're a doctor, you get a little bit more. But based on the work and the time that you put in, your wages has to be designed. So people in the West, they saw that, okay, this is true. What are we going to do? Americans, chiefly, or by American I mean all the rich people in the world, which at that time, you know, it was definitely US. They thought, okay, we have a solution. We're not going to go from capitalism to socialism. We're going to invent something else. We're going to jump to imperialism. Meaning what? Meaning that Americans, capitalists, they saw they're eating up all the workers' money. They teamed up with their workers. They teamed up with the American people. Okay? So now we have capitalists who are teaming up with the American people in a gigantic, colossal, economical, you know, structure. It's called imperialism. What are they going to do? They're going to eat the world, not Americans. Capitalists in the United States, in US, and France, everywhere, they decided not to eat up the money of their own people, but team up with them and take on the world. That's what they're going to do, is this. And that's imperialism. And this is how Americans, they escaped it. So, yeah, well, he was right, and we read it, so we knew we can't do this to Americans. And we created, you know, imperialism, decided to go and sell our product to other places in the world. And they were doing very well for quite some time. Now, before we get too much into the economy, and in fact, to tell you that Marx is right. At one point, the imperialists, they will run out of the population of the earth. They can't sell them anymore. Then what are they going to do? Are they going to go invade another planet somewhere else? Or what? Nothing. It will have to be turned back and turned into a socialist economy in the planet Earth. Much like Canada. Canada is definitely controlled capitalism, which what socialism is in a way. And this controlled economy in Canada, perhaps in Sweden, and some of the countries, ultimately will be the economy in the world. But my topic is not that. My topic is that, you know, I wasn't bamboozled, as President Obama says, by Karl Marx as a child. I always knew that something is wrong with what he says. And I looked at it in my life, I thought, you know what? Sure, economy is our need, and our need is improves, then the superstructure or the building or the top of it naturally gets better. The better the foundation, the better the building. But why do we say economy is the only foundations? I clearly discovered for myself a very, you know, stage as I heard him, that it is not the economy that is the source of changes in the society of mankind, but is the need. The need of mankind is the basis for the change. One of it is economy, there's no doubt. But the other part of it is spiritual values, social values. Look in the beginning of mankind. We have all these man-made, shall we say, self-inventing ideologies as existing, such as Greek mythology, Nordic mythology, you know, Sumerian, Assyrians, Egyptian, and then there was Hebrew mythology. They were all going together. At one point, as mankind grow up, they saw themselves, they cannot follow this way and this understanding of the religion. For example, in Greek, some about 500 years before Christ, science has started. There was the Galen, you know, the Thales, and then Galens and others. They came and they say the science, as we know, of course that's area for the debates. Continental philosophy of the European, they say that that's where the science begins, 500 years before Christ. I believe it in Europe, but other places science was going on a different way. So people as they grew, they couldn't see that they can't have sex with their sisters. They can't have sex with their mothers. They can't have sex with another man or a woman with woman. But that was the entire mythology of the Greek. Zeus marries his sister Hera, and so on and so forth. This would not fit in the ethics of the people. This is really why Socrates went to find a way, and he went and found Daniel's, I believe, and there he found the true ethics, that a man does not have sex with his mother or his sister, because in that case such relationship then dies. It will all become spouses, you know. And human society cannot accept this. This is why a revolution was created in Greek by Socrates. And he came and told them these things are wrong. You know, you have the ethics, he brought the ethics. Not exactly religion as the Judaism was, but the ethics that he learned from there, he gave it to them. Truthfulness and all that. I was reading in one book, Chronicles of the World, literally in a Greek society, they were saying that boys in their school have to have sex with each other. That was good for their health. That was an understanding. And this did not work with people. They didn't like it. So we can see the need of mankind, which was the spiritual values, when it was not met by the laws and the relation of the spiritual explanations of the old ancient mythologies, they were all left out. People abandoned them. This is why Hebrew mythology stayed on, and it evolved into religion. So, one of the need of mankind is definitely a spiritual need. Iranians in Iran, they had a pretty good economy, much better than now. But people had these spiritual sensations in them. And the Baha'is in Iran, where the Baha'i faith came in, were not good teachers, or they couldn't, let's not judgment of the God. They could not convey the message the way it had to be done to the society. And, priests, on the other hand, they didn't like the Baha'i faith because it was teaching, equality of man and women. That's what they don't like to hear that. I want to be the boss of the women, and so this teaching is no good. Secondly, there's no priest. Well, all the priests said, of course not. They were going to be out of business. So Baha'i faith became condemned. Was not taught properly. It's a hard thing to teach in a country like Iran. You have to use a lot of strategy. But people were starving for answers. Where's this promised one? This is why this urgency towards understanding some of the things that they went towards Ayatollah Khomeini and this spiritual revolution. They're thinking that West is corrupted and we don't want to be that. But they went to a wrong one though. So social need are the same way. In a society I've been in Dubai, Saudi Arabia for example, well, the economy is great. Because Dubaians are running an imperialistic economy where they don't work, but they tax. It's not too bad, but they're taxing 15%, 20%. Whoever comes in Dubai to do a business. And who collects the tax? Not the government, not the sheikh. He's just such a wonderful guy, that guy. He doesn't, but he lets people of the Dubai to sponsor a foreigner to come down there and do business, but they have to give 30%, 40%, sometimes 20% to them. If you want to open a McDonald's, some Dubaian citizen have to sponsor you, and he wants 10, 15%. So you pay tax in a way, but tax is divided, between. Therefore, the economy is perfect. You marry, you get $700,000 from government. They give you a piece of land. You don't need money. Saudi Arabia, the same thing. But the social values are not there. A woman in Dubai, in Saudi Arabia, cannot even call 911 even if she's attacked, she's raped. Can't. She can't take the phone. Her voice should not be heard by another man. Somebody else has to call for her. I have been there and seen the women behind those parka. What an eye they look. Oh, like the eye says, please save me when they see foreigners. But you can't even talk to them. I was, oblivious of the fact that I just asked the woman, what time is it? And my brother took me away and said, do not talk to the woman here because the religious police will get you and you go into nowhere zone, okay? You're not allowed to talk. So definitely social values, which is the freedom, as you heard, in the Saudi Arabia there was a woman who wanted to drive and she didn't have the power. Finally, thanks to the king, His Royal Highness allowed certain degrees of freedom. I'm not making him responsible for what's happening there. He's just one man. Society as a whole doesn't want these things. He just goes with the flow, as all the politicians are. But freedom, if it is captured and jailed, it doesn't matter how much money you have, or even how huge your spiritual values are, you will get out just for the sake of being free. So I made a correction to Marxism to say that yes, not just the economy and the imbalance, lack of the equilibrium between people and the relation of the laws and the rules of supply and demand causes these two imbalanced economy. Yes, that's a need then. I'll call that need. And I said that these needs in man are very three distinct needs. Definitely we have material need for our body. Definitely we have a spiritual need for our soul. We just want to be happy. Okay. Why do you think Bill Gates pays all this money? He was seeking some spiritual happiness. Socially, he's not enjoying that. He doesn't come in on any television trying to, say that, okay, I'm a good guy, I want to be president. He doesn't like it. He doesn't want to be known even for it, really. Why? Because this spiritual fulfillment, a spiritual need is very, very fulfilling. So, when we look at this, and we come down to the world in Canada and the United States, all of a sudden this problem arises. And this is where a serious diagnostic can be drawn. Now, definitely England, among other countries of the world, was on the top of the food chain, or the best in every directions. Thanks God, they came and started, Canada and the United States in North America, and New Zealand and Australia on the east. When they came here, they brought the Christianity from Europe to here. But Christianity could not work here because it was a spiritual relationship between the people of England in Europe. Here things changed. Based on the Christianity of the Europe, Catholic would marry Catholic, Protestant would marry Protestants, and so on and so forth. Irish mostly married Irish. Rarely they would go to another Englishman, or Italian for that matter. Here in North America, we mixed everything up. People of the Europe, with the leadership of the England, they started an international move. It wasn't just to build a country. They create a pattern for the future of the world, because they amalgamated all these races, cultures, religions, and they saw it's not working here. The problem is coming, as it happened in the United States. North and South again happened. The split between Irish and Brits. They thought, what? They're gonna have to get rid of religion, because it is not working. This mutation was occurring. That Hugo de Vries, that the Dutchman who took the spring primrose from United States and took it back to Holland, he planted the seeds and he saw the trees are growing very differently. Some of them are red leaf, some of them are tall, some of them are short. And he called it mutation, sudden jump, sudden change. All those ideas, religious ideas in the West, created a problem. Socially speaking though, largely mankind could solve their problem in the West, in here. They definitely saw what are the problems in UK, in Europe, and they got rid of those problems here. In the South, they said, hell with the French-speaking language, suppress it. Canadian, they thought, no, we can't do it. They're big here in Quebec. We're going to have to compromise. Therefore, they created a more evolved social fabric in Canada. It's not as close as US, because we decided not to suppress, but see how we can tie ourselves into French nations, which brought the other nations involved. So we created a most advanced society in the planet Earth. It's Canada, socially speaking. So largely we could solve these problems. But Christianity could not work in the United States and Canada. It was a spiritual solution for a nation. The people in a nation of Italy or Spain or Portugal or fronts, they could come together under Christianity, but still there was a war in between them. Within a nation there was peace and happiness because of Christianity, especially because of its certain brand that it had. But as soon as it goes out of the country, there's war. There's war between the nations because it does not mend and explains how the nations and the languages and the races and the colors have to be mended together. It doesn't go that far. It's a continental religion for a continental philosophy, and a continent of Europe could not come in the West. West, you may call it the continent of North America, but the move that was taking place here, it was very much an international move. Here we're changing, mixing everything up. There has been no record of Christianity to getting along with people of many, many nations, of many colors and many languages, all of them in one country. No, it never happened. Muslims are the same way. So these are all continental spiritual solutions. It would not work in the United States because they saw this. The founding fathers, they saw that this is it. What we're going to do? We are going to get rid of it. We're going to reduce it and say that it has to stay at home. I can't come out. It has to be. So they ran on an abstinence. We do not deal with this need, they said. Yeah. That's a need, personal need at home and this and that. But even at home it didn't work. Because if you make your child to become an Amish, or a Catholic, or an Anglican, or Presbyterians, Southern Baptists, staunchly, they would not get along with other kids in the school. My way is better, my explanation is better. I say Christ is this, I'm saying Christ is that. Christ is a sword, Christ is master of circumcisions. All that would not get along. He saw that religion, just as Karl Marx put it, it became an opium to the society. It's not going to work to get rid of it. Now, we said, okay, we're going to take a fast. We say that we don't want water anymore. We're just going to drink Coke and wine, liquids. You can go on for some times. Definitely, lack of the medicine for your pain is better than a wrong medicine. The wrong one's killing you. It's very simple, to put it very simply. No, but the matter became bigger. Science, on the one hand, keep going up and up and up, and the religious groups in the West, they were not keeping up. All they had to do with it was denying it. You read some of these stories, horrendous beliefs people still have. The guys seriously think right in the US that there is no such a thing as planet Moon. It's just a light, God has put it up there so people can see in the night. There's no moon, there's no planet. Earth is totally flat. This was the approach, to deny the science. Why? Because they could not come up with a solution. Christianity was dead. Didn't have anything. On the other hand, people such as, great Charles Darwin and thousands of others keep bringing more and more and more scientific ideas. Totally embarrass the whole aspect of the religion. Because its philosophy could not, its explanation could not keep up with the scientific data. The greatest scientist of all, my favorite one, the man who lives in twilights, in this life and on the other level, Stephen Hawking. He says, oh, that 6 days in the Bible is actually the last ice age, probably about 11,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago. Nobody has explained it to him. That 6 days, according to the Bible, is 6,000 years. From Moses, from Adam to Muhammad, was 6,000 years. This is not the physical world God made. This is the world of the spiritual world. God has made it in 6,000 years. Who explained these things? Baha'i faith, of course. Baha'u'llah. See, all of a sudden religion comes up and says, this is how it goes. So it creates a balance. So the truth is necessary. Because if you want to say to people, they have to love each other, they have to be kind with each other. But you say, the God said, say, okay, and then they say God created the world in 6 days. People say, wait a minute, we understand the part to be kind, but 6 days, Christ walk over the water, these things are good. We can't take these things. It's ridiculous. It's insulting. The scientists, man, in the West find these things very insulting. So we don't need these things. We have enough, ethics. So they take the matter in their hand. As a result, we have millions of religions, millions of little, minor prophets, religious leaders comes up and they say things. In India, every day, like mushrooms, one, every day, they come and try to infiltrate the West too. So is in the West, all kind of it, every one of them. I was watching the other day, the guy says, God says, in the Bible that you have to have the serpent with you, so they bring serpent in the church and they think they have to have serpent. Because why mankind is doing this? What is this telling us? It's telling us their spiritual need is starving. No one has any answer. We need an answer. We're starving. Guys, I got all the money. I have all the freedom. But I'm bored because I don't enjoy this guy. I can't trust him. He can't trust me. Our marriages in the West is like an open mortgage. Never nothing is signed. I love you till I find the next one. I'm with you, honey, till the next one comes in. It's never a closed deal. This free enterprise is going everywhere in relationship with marriages and everything, because there's no laws to control it. So this is the diagnostic I'm running out of you, America, that you have developed so much of the social laws that you have created such a dictatorship. Not of a person, but a dictatorship of a system that dictates people by so many laws. None of them is truth. I just simply made because somebody experienced and therefore they make it. Keep making laws. Virtually they're creating virtual walls around every person in the United States, in the West. You want to get a car? In India, there's no license. You buy it like a fishing license. At least that's what it was when I was there, 84. Here, you want to get a car? Imagine things that you have to go through. Safety check has to be done. Your license. You know what it is. Your insurance, your sticker, so many things. And then you're going in the street, there are so many laws, and this police officer, they're just like Nazi Germany, SS, everywhere they're looking to serve and protect themselves, not others, to stop you and give you tickets, helping the insurance company to come back and charge you. See? So many laws that are not godly, made by a man for another man. Well, that is dictatorship. How can a man rule another man? Sure, there are scientists behind it certain times, but often the member of the parliament and Congress, they're seriously stupid people. I want to say stupid, but I'll say oblivious of the fact of what people need. So, this is the problem. We have created our social structure, social laws, ended up to the creations of the dictations of the system. Have you seen these movies that they say, oh, you know, in science fiction movies, they made a computer and the computer became smarter than the creator of the computer and took over the man and just running the entire life of the people, and they became... It is what it is right now in the West. This is not, extended to US, it's in Canada, it's in Australia, it's in England, it's in France, it's in Germany, it's in Sweden. In most of these Euclidean-based countries where everything is angled according to the law of the geometry and mathematics. Mathematics of the nature is not a part of it. Then of course they tell me that, so what? If we don't do that, this is going to happen. I said, yes. These laws are based on a society that as if everyone is thief, everyone is dishonest. Well, how can people be so much dishonesty and so much living? People of North America are not that dishonest. They are not that bad. And the entire city in India, the city I used to be, Tiruchirappalli, Trichy. God, I don't think this city of 1 million or 2 million, I don't think they had even 200 police people. They didn't. A small town in North America of 150,000 has 400 police. What is this? Because a spiritual value is missing. Trust is not there. See? People's appetite toward being honest is gone. They don't enjoy being honest. They don't get rewarded for it. So this is the dimensions of the need that has not been developed at all. The society of North America and Canada is suffering from social elephantitis. Have you seen elephantitis? The guy's foot, I've seen it in India lots of times. One foot is so big and the other foot is not. This is what has happened in the society here. The one side is so big, so huge. I can go on and on for this. Let me just end this topic. I've written so many notes to come and talk about it. So, I want to cut myself short because there's no end, man, if I want to talk about these things. So this is the general diagnostic, but the result of it is, for example, this extension of, I heard in the news, one-fifth of the Canadians are suffering from a psychiatric problem, depressions and other things. Can you believe it? The whole society is dying down. How many percentage of them are there that they don't drink? Every one of them do. Every one of them. The whole society is sick. I just keep going up and up and up. England, binge drinking is huge. The biggest problem of all is the family. Family structure is gone here. Because the laws of the family, there are two types of society in my opinion. One is a live society, one is a dead society. A live society is made out of a live unit. Just like a plant is made out of cell, an animal is made out of cell, an organic being is made out of cell. A good society, a living society, is made out of a living unit. I'll call that family. A dead society, like a piece of lumber or a stone, is made out of atoms. And a dead society is made out of individuals, not out of family. In my country, Canada, everyone has to work. Man and women, they both have to work to pay the mortgage. Or they can have mortgage. Therefore, kids are grown up by TV, by somebody else. They have many surrogate mothers and fathers, to bring them up. The laws in the society, the laws in the family cannot be enacted by a philosopher, by a scientist, by an artist, by lawmakers. This is the law of loving each other, trusting each other. Your child. These laws are only enacted by God, by manifestation of God. We call him Jesus Christ or Buddha or Krishna. Today's Baha'u'llah. The laws of the past does not and cannot constitute an institution of the family for 20th century. Most religions, when the two mother and father are of different religion, it's against the doctrine of the faith of that religion. Baha'i faith allows it. Goes to the point, it says that you cannot even interfere with the faith and the religion of your own child. If he or she after 15 years decided not to be a Baha'i, you have to just as much love him as he was a Baha'i. Shall we offend us if we don't do this, then we're worse than others of the past dispensation. So these laws in the family, if it is not there, you will not have a proper human being made. Because there are two wombs. One's the womb of the mother, where you develop hands and eyes and all the faculties to come within the society, born in this life. Now you need a social womb for 15 years, Baha'u'llah says, at least. But a male and a female are raising a child. The love of a male and females are different. One is expression, one is impression. A human being needs both of them. Two opposites, but equal. Two opposite, but united. Two distinct elements of one thing, of one institution. It's got to be there for a child to grow, healthy mind. But if it is a womb of a Christian, the moment the child grows, he hates the Muslims, Buddhists or Hindus. That's how it's been brought. Christianity or Muslim the same way. In a Baha'i family, those things are not allowed. They won't be taught from the very childhood. So if we don't have these laws to institute a family, which are spiritual laws, what are we going to do? Go to all religions, they're going to make children that all oppose each other in the society. You don't go with it, children are not born with that kind of a love and caring. The remnant of those religions that are in Hinduism and Islam have created a strong children and a strong individuals in the West. That's why all those good jobs and great jobs are taken by them, because they're supported by mom and dad. Not so much physically, spiritually, the love is given to them because there's a conviction in those mom and dads about their belief. Notwithstanding that these children, when they want to marry another man of a different religion, then they have a problem because they can't formulate another family of a different kind. It has to be their own kind. And if you let that happen, then there will be a civil war. Because people grow Muslim their own way, Christian their own way, Buddhist their own ways, Hindus their own ways, they're not marrying, they're not together, therefore we have four distinct societies. They're bound to fight just they were fighting in the past 2,000 years, because they don't get along. So, creation of family, which production of a healthy mind is completely dependent on it. It's lacking in United States, in Canada. This is the problem. When we came here a couple hundred years ago, we said, oh Jesus, how could I talk to somebody in New York? How could I talk to somebody in California? That was a problem. I wish my mail could go faster here to Washington you know, or could I speak to the people in Japan? We had those needs. Good. Material need, you think about it, man is capable of it. We created all of that and answered it. But we created some other problem. Because cell phone bring a culture of itself. Then it is different management. TV, email, internet. They call it social media, but it's making such a totally disassociated member of the society. People do not want to associate with each other. They're not social at all under this social program. Anti-social program is called social program. The guy doesn't want to talk to me on the phone. He wants to just text me and email me. So I can't email. My fingers are big on this little phone. And I'm not good typist. I have to talk. He's not comfortable. He wants to send email. Can't hear. He's becoming so private, so disassociated from others. It completely is lost. Like a cell from the body is lost, segregated from the others, to grow on its own to something that we don't know what it is. It's not human for sure. So, now we have created these problems. How do we manage cell phone and internet? Now, the material problem solved. It's created social and a spiritual problem. Try to invent a way to solve that one, brother. How are you going to solve this problem right now? The side effects of the materialism. You can't, isn't it? This is why the Western civilization, as they call it, in any country, it is doomed to death in a very short time. The native people have been here for a couple thousand years. Maybe they had zero material power and zero spiritual understanding. Okay, there was a balance. They lived in a balance. You guys created so much material, but no management, no spiritual explanation how to use these things. As a result, you have elephantitis, social elephantitis. You're suffering from the achievement deficit disorder. Your society is crumbling down. Western Hemisphere. Now then the reactionist movement comes in. One guy, an avid American, like those guys that talks like that. A Dutchman, but he says he's American, born and raised. Now he's a dual citizen in Canada. He was insisting upon that we should go back to the constitutions. I'm a Republican, and that's where we have to go. And he's hammering it down. I told him, I don't know, but I'm looking at the Republican, so much you're talking about his constitutions and whatnot, they were not thinking like you. If they were going to be thinking like you, they would have put up with the King of England and the Constitution of England. They were not thinking like you. They said we are Republican, but we don't want that. We want something new. You call yourself like the follower of your old, founding fathers, but you're not behaving like them. They were going always after something new, solution. And they were brave enough to get rid of the past. And they saw they are misbehaving, England was not smart enough to deal with the Americans as a true citizen of England. They're taking a tax from the Americans, but they were not giving them all those rights. Americans, they thought, okay, something is missing here. And that's how the segregation started. Americans at the beginning, they were after innovations and got rid of, or were brave enough. But right now the guy says, no, I don't want to follow John Paul, he's a libertarian. I said, okay, I'm Jewish and Republican as such, and we have to go to the founding fathers. I said, well then go live, in 17th century and 18th century. Why are you in this century if you're so much avid followers of those constitutions and institutions and all that? I guess I want to call this segment diagnostic. Very generally I spoke. I'm sure you're smart enough to figure the rest of it, but I'm going to go back later on in the next few days to come and bring some solutions and to elucidate on some of the things that Baha'i faith has brought for you in your country. These are not a solution for you that you would follow. I know you don't. But me as an elder, it falls in my jurisdiction that I have to say for the people 50 years from now that when my fire turns into light in a distance of 50 years, they can see the light. Right now they see fire. Then they see light. And I join the League of the Dead. And then I get the respect they require, I guess. Honesty and all that. We like all, we're the society that we just like, have the old things all the time. We enjoyed artifacts. Once I become an artifact, and then they, go on thinking what I was, especially when the problem becomes bigger. But I'm saying these things not so much for you people at their time right now. I don't think there's any solution for you. The matter is already kicked in and nobody can change it. But I'm saying for the Americans in future, in 20 years from now, for when I'm dead, and get copies of all of these YouTubes. I have come for you, and the envoy of God sent for you to explain part of the Baha'i faith for you and for the mankind. We all have to save the United States of America. It's the capital of the world. And, the company, which are Canada, United States, Australia, and their mother, the United Kingdom. For the good of mankind, we should. Because if this breaks down, we have to start all over. And I don't know how long it takes for Chinese society or Indian society, as big and as sincere they are, to come back to this point again and crumble again. So we better keep this one, keep going and keep it. And don't let it go down. And this is why I'm here for that. See you guys.